If it's conservative.
If you're looking for something liberal
and realistic, this is the place to be.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the podcast with no name, and we are here to discuss a topic entitled jewellery, and it's focusing on outward adornment. And we have just discovered that jewellery is not only the only way to adorn yourself or to show or to kuvairira or kuganza. Right? It's not the only way that people can show opulence or their wealth, right? There are other various methods. But for today, we've allowed ourselves to just dwell on jewellery. And in the previous episode, we now wanted to then draw a line on what the ring means, if it's for symbolism, what wearing bracelets, what is acceptable, what is not. And we also want to then have a look at what the Bible says, as well as what scripture, our texts, like from Ellen White. All right. So, Natasha, I would like you to read for us the quote there.
Okay, it says, to dress plainly, abstaining from display of jewellery and ornaments of every kind, is in keeping with our faith. It is clearly taught in the scriptures that the wearing of jewellery is contrary to the will of God. The Apostle Paul admonishes us to dress ourselves in modest apparel with propriety and moderation, not with braided hair or gold or pearls or costly clothing. The wearing of ornaments of jewellery is a bid for attention, not in keeping with Christian self-forgetfulness.
Okay, let's dissect this. Let's address this statement. I'm hearing that wearing jewellery for attention.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there's a problem there, right? I got that as long as the moment it becomes for attention, meaning that it's not only jewellery that has a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But even if it's a car, sometimes there are some cars that attract attention.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very important for us to note that during the time in which we are living, we're living in a time where we are in the great controversy between Christ and the devil. The issue is about worship. Who should be worshipped? And now in reading this verse that is coming from 1 Timothy, that was quoted there, 1 Timothy chapter 2.
Verse 9.
It's now talking about this issue of outward display, and it's talking about attention and everything.
Yeah.
Now, during the time in which we are living, much of the attention need to be on Christ. And now, when we are diverting our attention from Christ, and now we are putting it on ourselves, it becomes a problem.
Okay, Paul.
Okay, this statement by Ellen G. White it's a deep one, because she's saying to dress plainly, abstaining from display and jewelry and ornaments of every kind is keeping with our faith.
Yes,
of every kind. Now,
Right.
This one we're approaching thin ice.
Yeah.
Okay, so
With that in mind, I'm going to remove this ring. And we are going to be discussing the ring now.
because when she's talking about ornaments of every kind,
Yes.
the one that you just removed
also
is
one kind.
part of it. That one. So, but then I think the underlying principle there is showing off.
Yes.
So an ornament by its nature,
Yes.
is put on to attract.
Yes.
If I've got time, I'm going to read a statement for you. So an ornament by its nature
Yes.
is put on to attract
Yes.
attention, and that is what God is saying. Once you do that,
Yes.
then you are no longer in good books with God.
Yeah, but look, my ring, just because I wore it here, it could symbolize anything. But what is the difference now when I wear the ring on the marriage, just to show the world that, look, I'm taken for life. I have committed myself to my partner, and I'm now in a marriage. What's wrong with that?
No, if it's for the wedding now, that's sacred. So obviously the Lord, it's holy, so He accepts it. But now when you put that ring for drip, because you want them to say, this is the nigger. Now it's bad.
Okay. Okay, so that's where the problem is. Yes, receive.
Now, the statement that is saying all men are of ornaments.
All men are.
So the ring is not excluded from there, unfortunately. And looking at the ring, especially in the Seventh-day Adventists, we have two divisions. Some they are pro to it, and some they are not for it because of its origins, where it came from. But you, Ron, you're a Christian. When you are married, why do you need a ring to remind you that you're married in order for you to remain faithful? Because you know deep down in your heart that I am married I'm married. And why should you need to show the world for that?
Good question.
It's not that I need to be reminded.
Yes.
I am proud that I am married. And it's a form of identification. I'm saying to the world that I am officially off the streets, off the market.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with attracting attention of people. It's just to show that, look, I am proud to have been taken.
Well, I think it depends with the type of ring. We have these wedding rings, and we all know what a wedding ring looks like. We have those rings which are worn by celebrities, whereby she orders a custom-made ring, which costs maybe $2 million.
Yeah.
Now that's a ring for something else. It's now different from the wedding ring. So I think these ones are acceptable. But those ones which cost $2 million, for example, because here it's written to dress, and Paul admonishes us to dress ourselves in modest apparel, and not with costly clothing. So meaning those costly items like Rolex, we have Rolex watches, we have iPhone watches. Watches, iPhone. We have those 2 million rings. So now that's unacceptable.
Right.
So where do you draw the line? Before I come to you, where do you draw the line?
Because this
that
one,
$200 is costly.
This one, it's actually for time. This watch, it's actually for time.
Your watch.
Yes, this $5 watch. But then Rolex, 2 million for time. Now,
let's go to 4.
Okay, I won't talk about the watch. I want to talk about the ring. The ring. I think for me, I'll say this personally, and then I will try and come closer to everyone else. For me personally, I look at the origins of things. I love the origin of things.
Exactly.
As a historian, I go to the origin. So my history tells me that the origin of a ring is pagan.
Okay.
Actually, if you read the book Creeping Compromise by Joe Cruz, there's somewhere where he quotes Constantine, the emperor. Then he actually says it in his own words where the ring comes from. But it's a symbol. So the ring itself is not evil.
Okay.
The ring itself is not evil. But then its origins are the ones that are not good. So for me, it has some weight, but if I put it on, I won't feel I'm not committing a sin by putting it on. But its origins, they just I don't accept its origins. But I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Tomorrow you might find me putting it on, or you might not find me putting it on. And if I see you putting it on, I won't condemn you. But I don't like its origins.
Yeah, because the origins of the dollar note, with that eye of Horus on it, it's bad.
Yeah.
But do we stop using the money because its origins are bad? Receive.
But looking at the ring, for example, there's a belief behind it that if you remove it, then it's a sign of bad luck for the marriage. Now you see where we're going now. We're going back to the issue of religion. We're going to the issue of worship. Where now we are saying, yes, it's a ring, but now because I want to, maybe I'm a mechanic, maybe I don't know, maybe a carpenter or something. I must remove it. But now there is now this belief that if I remove this ring, then it's bad luck for my marriage. It's no longer safe now to wear something like that.
But if you keep it on and there's grease and it gets weathered.
I'll still support the ring for the wedding or the marriage. Yeah.
women in rings. We understand.
The ring for the wedding, it's okay.
Yeah.
But we have those engagement rings or maybe leadership rings, authority rings.
Okay.
For what? Leadership ring, authority ring. Now, those ones are not sacred. They are just symbols. They symbolize something which the Lord didn't even consider at first. I don't see anywhere in the Bible where it's written one year to wear a ring for leadership or a ring for authority. But for weddings, I think it's normal.
Okay. What about this? There's something that I see that's happening. I don't know if I can call it a trend, which actually annoys me. Like you find our women. Women love rings. I mean, they'll wait until they die. But if you look at most men, they only wait for the first, and then later on,
After 1 year, they remove.
I don't know why, but that's what they do. But we've got women, when they are talking, they talk with hands. But they want you to see.
To see, exactly.
Yeah.
Just like you men talk with your car keys.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I mean, what causes that?
When you men
Now you're talking like you're like you're always throwing your hands in the air. You want because you want us to see. You want us to see that I'm putting. And the other thing again, if you noticed, for a guy, let's say I'm about to get married to my girlfriend or whoever, I can accept a $5 ring.
Okay.
I can tell you, you can buy me $1 ring. But with women, it's you want something expensive.
Exactly.
Why? Because you want to be seen. So this is why you always throw it in the air. You always throwing it in the air. You want us to see. That's where now the problem comes now. Now you are where Ellen White now says this issue of ornaments, they bring attention to you. You want to be glorified for putting that thing on. You want to be attached some sort of importance because I've got a more expensive ring than so and so. Then now that's ungodly. Now that's where now we come to say, is this all right to put on or not? But obviously there are some people that have composure that are, they can have an expensive ring, but you might not even see that they have it on. So I don't know.
And you know what? If one of these women gets to a setting and they are flashing their hands and no one comments, how does that make you feel? You go into depression.
Exactly.
With the things that you have caused on yourself as well. Let's talk about the prodigal son. Okay.
Yeah.
The prodigal son was given a ring by his father.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
I think we need to come to an agreement that jewelry in its own is we can't condemn it totally. That they are statements that we find in the Bible where we even see God giving people these things. And we are seeing the prodigal son here is an exemplar of a person who is redeemed and God is giving them. Even when we go to heaven, 2 Timothy chapter 4 verse 8 testifies that we're going to be given crowns. You see.
Corona,
so, exactly. Yeah. Even when you read Ezekiel 28, it talks about how the Lucifer was made by God. He was made with all these precious stones, right? So in its own, like Paul mentioned, that it's not the ring that is the problem. The problem is what we put on it, with the value we put on it. Like I would give an example, like maybe let me give an example where with our instruments, our musical instruments, we've got the mbira, the wosho and everything. Those things, there's nothing wrong with them, man. But in our African culture, when they see you playing drums, they are thinking of what?
Mzimu.
Of Mzimu. So it's what we have put in those things, in these jewels. That's what is an issue.
So are we saying that the issue has to do with the usage
Exactly.
of the jewelry, what we're using it for? The use of my car. What is my car being used for? If it's got that really loud exhaust pipe,
Yes.
what's the end goal? I'm attracting attention,
Yes.
right? I wear that green shiny suit. What am I doing? I'm attracting attention. I customize my number plate.
Okay.
This is all attracting attention.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to throw in a question. Maybe it can help us, or help me, or help the listener. If you go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 3, verse 16 and 24, and then chapter 4. I love chapter 4. Just check. I think it's verse. Isaiah 4. I think verse 4. Chapter 3. God talks about the daughters of Zion, and then how they've been so pompous and proud because they're putting on anklets, they're putting on ornaments, and they're walking with their, necks. What we actually see today is church, as they come in, mincing. It actually uses the word mincing, and I always think of the stilettos, they are, and then on chapter 4, verse 4, then God calls it filth. And then God says, actually, I want to wash away their filth.
Exactly.
Meaning the things. In chapter 3, the author actually mentions the stuff that they're putting on, ornaments and stuff. And then in chapter 4, then God says, these people, the daughters of Zion, they are my people. Yes. But I want to wash them off their filth. I don't know. What can we say about that? Because if God is calling it filth, it's tricky.
Right. Before I go to receive, you have convinced me to remove one bracelet. So I'm going to remove one.
3 are gone.
Go on.
All right. I wanted us to read something from the Adventist beliefs, the Adventist belief number 22, titled Christian Behavior. We're just going to read some words here. It says, we are called to be a godly people who think, feel, and act in harmony with biblical principles in all aspects of personal and social life. Okay. For the Spirit to recreate in us the character of our Lord, we involve ourselves only in those things that will produce Christ-like purity, health, and joy in our lives. This means that our amusement and entertainment should meet the highest standards of Christian taste and beauty. While recognizing cultural differences, our dress is to be simple, modest, and neat, befitting those whose true beauty does not consist of outward adornment, but in the imperishable ornament of a gentle and quiet spirit.
Okay.
So here we're going back to that quote that we quoted earlier. And here one of our fundamental beliefs is telling us that it's talking about simplicity.
Yeah.
About modesty. The reason why we wear those jewels, what is it for? Is it for display? Is there simplicity in it? Like we mentioned, issue to do with like Natasha mentioned about the gold ring that's costing millions. It's costly ornament, right? God is telling us that we need to wear simple things. We need to be very simple as Christians. And we need to walk away from attracting all the attention that is in the world. Like Lucifer, what made him to fall? Lucifer was made with all precious stones. And what made him to fall was because he looked at his beauty. And he started to feel more than what he was. So that's the challenge that we have. When we have these things, these ornaments that we have, we start to look ourselves above everyone else. But yet the Bible tells us at the foot of the cross, the ground is level. We are all equal. So when you have everything, when you're looking at yourself, you're wearing your suit, everyone in church has to bow at you. It's to bow at your feet. Now that becomes a challenge.
Have you ever noticed that if you wear your suit to church, let's say HCCC,
yes,
you're okay, you're normal.
Yes.
But ukena kumusha, for
Yes.
example,
Mm.
there are certain clothes that you know
Yeah.
Yes.
that if
Yeah.
I wear this, I'm
Yeah.
going to make certain people feel uncomfortable.
True.
Exactly.
True.
Exactly.
If I wear a certain shoe,
Yes.
I am definitely going to be looked at as a heathen, or they are going to stereotype me.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to bring the issue of context.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
There are certain areas
Cultural
where,
differences, as she mentioned. Yeah.
yes.
Mm.
Natasha.
What's your question exactly? I
Okay,
didn't
so
get
we'll come back to you. You've got nothing to say.
I
Paul.
I think why I think God does not prefer us to put on these things is because of the reason that you mentioned. We make other people uncomfortable, because if you're going to come with a Rolex and then I'm putting on a simple quartz,
Yeah.
then I look and then I sit next to you, I'll feel uncomfortable. But the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to go out and try and get a better one than yours.
Yes.
Now then competition comes into play. But if you don't put on anything and I don't do anything, I feel like we are,
Okay.
yeah, we might be the difference. Okay, the difference might come when you go into the car park after church, But then when we're in church, we're okay.
Yeah.
I will worship God properly, sitting next to you, even not knowing that you are actually a millionaire. But now when you start putting on these things now, then I start feeling, low self-esteem and things like that. And I feel like we are not on the same pedestal. And then that
We won't be. We actually won't.
yeah, but then you are putting it on me. But if you can come, that's the reason why when you go to the rural areas, I like what you said. I do that sometimes. I go to the rural areas. There are certain clothes that I don't take there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I don't want to make someone feel uncomfortable. Now they can't worship properly because I've come.
Yeah.
I might just go there and people must be shocked. Okay, this guy is,
Even the food you
yeah,
bring
even
to
exactly,
church, yeah.
even the food. Because we're trying to bring simplicity so that we can be make it look like we are on the same pedestal, even if we are not, so that the other person does not feel uncomfortable. What is the
Yeah.
But it also can boost my confidence or my self-esteem.
The ring.
Yeah, the watch, the Rolex. My self-esteem is boosted.
Okay.
So is that a bad thing? Because once I walk around with maybe a normal watch, I won't feel that confidence. That's the other side.
Okay, so let's fine. Fair enough. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
But can we safely say that if, for example, a watch is basically for time, it can be worn. A
Yes.
ring, if it's for marriage, it can be worn. I've
Yes.
seen some bracelets. Is it for iron? Where certain people are told to wear them
Okay.
because it's like if you've got a deficiency.
They also, the bracelets, some of them wear them for engagement.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's their symbol of engagement.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I think we go back to the quote that we read, which is talking about cultural differences, where it is allowed. Miss White says that it's okay for those cultures. Like you mentioned, issues with cultures where they put beads and everything. In certain cultures like that, maybe that girl, it shows the status of her. Maybe she's a virgin and she's allowed to wear certain types of jewels. So in those cultures, there is nothing wrong for them to wear. But then another point is the wearing of these jewels should not be compulsory for someone who doesn't want to. If I don't want to wear a wedding ring, it should not be by force, just because the world expects me to show around that I'm married.
But why can't you wait?
So which means when you're now getting a life partner,
You should
You need to look
wait.
for somebody who understands.
Who understands.
Yeah, true. But I wanted to throw in. Oh, are you done?
I wanted to comment on what we were talking earlier on about not being comfortable. So there's a verse which is found in Romans chapter 14, verse 18, which says, "Then let us no more pass judgment on one another, but rather decide never to put a stumbling block or hindrance in the way of a brother." Now, the challenge we have now in church, there are some people who, like, they've read these quotations that we read, that you need to remove totally all the ornaments, and they vakabatirira but that teaching zvekudaro. So when you come with it, when I see you, Brother Ron, you are an elder, and I see you with this, inini ndakabatirira from with this teaching that as Adventists we don't wear, but I'm seeing you wearing, it becomes a stumbling block to me. Yes, Natasha, you want to feel comfortable, you want your confidence to be boosted, but you wearing an expensive, all those dresses you are wearing, but for a fellow sister now, it becomes a stumbling block. She no longer feels comfortable to come to church because the environment is no longer safe for her. So as Christians, we should try as much as possible to make the environment comfortable for everyone.
True.
Okay. Yeah. I wanted to say, I think one of our biggest problems as Blacks, as Africans, is that they call it acculturation. We look at our own culture, and we don't like it. Then we look next door. Europe, that's nice. Then we take theirs, and then we suppress ours. And then now because of that, we start having problems because
yes,
you see, without understanding, without knowing where these things are coming from, and then now we have problems. I'll give you an example. Wedding engagements in the past. People would exchange t-shirts. T-shirts. It was simple. It was all good.
Please
there was no problem with that. Until Takata, we don't like this. We want the ring. But the ring is not ours.
Cultures to African.
But the ring is not ours.
Now you have to go to Trotbeck. Spend so much.
You will see now. You see now where he's taking. Yeah, you see where he's taking us now. And then now we're actually. I was telling somebody that it's funny how we spend so much on a one-day wedding when we're going to live a lifetime.
Exactly.
I mean, it's because we want to borrow people's stuff. People's things we bring, then it actually chokes us in the process. And then now we are nowhere.
Okay. Oh, this has been insightful. I now want us to wrap up. We have said a lot of things. We have said our opinions. Let's come to a conclusion, or let's come to an agreement on how we proceed in terms of jewelry and in terms of outward adornment, because we are realizing it's not just jewelry, it's also other things that are related to it. It's probably the clothes that we wear, the pictures we choose to post on social media.
Exactly.
A lot of things that we do to be seen, to attract attention. The text said attention. Those things. We need to come to an agreement there. So I'm going to ask for last words. Can I start with you, Natasha, or start with Receive? I'll start with you.
Actually, I've got a lot of things that I wanted to say, which I think we missed.
Okay, go on.
We've got Leviticus chapter 19, which talks about the Lord is saying, I don't want you to have cuttings in your skin or tattoos. So when we're talking about jewelry, we have people who have tendency to have earrings. But now the question I have is, if God wanted us to have earrings, He would have created us with holes in our ears. So now that verse prohibits us from having cuttings, and that includes cutting our ears. Yes. And also in Revelation chapter 17, we've got a woman that is clothed with all manner of ornaments that is described as the Babylon, right? A harlot. Then in chapter 12, verse 1 and 2, we've got a pure woman. She's simple. And this is exactly what we should be. as Christians. We should be simple in the manner in which we dress. First Peter chapter 3 speaks about how we ought to dress. I don't know if you can allow me with the time for us to read.
I'll read it.
First Peter chapter 3, verse 3. It says, let not yours be the outward adorning with braiding of hair, decoration of gold, and wearing of fine clothing, but let it be the hidden person of the heart with the imperishable jewel of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is in God's sight is very precious. Now, here the chapter is talking about, it's talking about women and everything, but the main point that's there is for us to not to put too much in our outward adornment, but our conduct should be much more important. Because here he gives an example of a woman who has got a husband who is unbelieving, and Paul is saying, and Peter is saying that in order for her to win the husband, she needs not to decorate herself. The point is, women don't need to decorate themselves in order for them to attract men. Honestly, as real men who really need women, they are not attracted by what we put outside. But we are more concerned with the character of a person, the conduct of a person, the attitude that the person has.
Yeah.
I think that's all I can say.
I mean, have you ever noticed how you can get into a really nice car? Let's say you're going on a journey.
Yes.
But if you have a tire puncture, that car ceases to be of use.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
It ceases to be about how beautiful the car is.
Exactly.
It's about the functionality
Exactly.
of the car.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you're right in saying women should desist from assuming that it's about the outward adornment.
Yeah.
I think we should all seek the heart, and we should be willing to accept people for who they are.
Exactly.
Yes, over to you.
Okay, so I'll begin with on First Peter, the one that Receive just read, and it has caused a lot of commotion in our churches.
Yes.
So I just want to throw in a nugget and say the Bible was not condemning kurukwa,
All right.
the braiding.
All right. Yes.
But it was, if you go deeper on with the verse, it's talking about what they're supposed to do. They would braid their hair and then weave it with ornaments.
Exactly.
Who is that? No, I don't know if you've seen them. I don't want to. I'm not stepping on anyone's foot, but we see them in church. Whatever. Then you put those
beads,
So what I want to say is, I think I will still remain with Ellen G. White's quotation that you read, and say, and then throw in this one at the end of it all, Revelation chapter 12, chapter 17, chapter 12, the Church of God, very pure, nothing on. Chapter 17, the
ornaments.
Lots of ornaments, tagged. The Bible says tagged in ornaments. The true Church of God, simple. The false church, tagged with ornaments. And then I'll end with reading this Ellen G. White, Minister of Healing, page 287. I've heard young people saying, okay, you talk of modest. What is modest? How can we define modest? So here's the definition from Ellen G. White. The Bible teaches modesty of dress. Any device designed to attract attention to the wearer or to excite admiration is excluded from the modest apparel which God's words enjoys. So that's Minister of Healing, page 287. So anything that attracts and admiration, it's excluded from the modest apparel.
Okay.
Yeah.
I won't lie, before I come to you, when I first started, I was feeling good. I was feeling like I'm above all of you, But now that I'm removing these the bracelets, I feel like we are at the same level. And I also feel like I have nothing to brag about.
And we're actually feeling, we were threatened.
I mean, after all, my hands feel lighter, Yes, let's go to you.
I would end by saying we should not wear those costly watches. Because you'll be mounting pressure on some of us who cannot afford.
Okay.
Especially the Rolex, iPhone. And then we have those men who wear those chains. Yeah, that's jewelry. Those chains, those bracelets, and those, maybe his hand will be having 5 rings.
Yes.
It's kind of scruffy. Yeah, and it's not even attractive.
Yes.
To me, it would be looking like someone who is actually mentally ill. So let's not give ourselves pressure and try to look more attractive when actually you're becoming scruffy and it's not even attractive.
Okay.
Yeah, just dress normal and modest.
Okay. All right. This has been a lot. Personally, I learned a lot as well. And the point to take home may be on jewelry, but it's on outward adornment. How you attract attention. It could be through the cars, it could be the house that you build. What is the end goal? Are you building that house because you have so many children who need to sleep in the rooms, or you're building it for praise and for attention? Are you buying a certain type of shoe for protection of the feet, or is it to attract attention? The same with the jewelry. What is the reasoning behind getting the jewelry that you have? What is the significance? And what is the end goal? So if you missed anything else, we have spoken about what it was used for and why it was used. And we have heard from the fundamental beliefs, we have heard from the Bible, and it emphasizes on dressing modestly. Be it your clothes, be it whatever you do. And we can live better if no one is competing with the next person. All right. So this has been a really insightful episode for me. And I do hope that you've all enjoyed and learned something. Until next time, see you in the next episode.